This is Amplify You, the podcast about you discovering your message and broadcasting it to the world. If you're a coach, author, or speaker, you'll want to tune in. If you're looking for the best return on your time investment to get your message out to the world in a bigger way, we're giving you full access and behind the scenes look of how we're running our podcast, how our clients have found success, and what you can do to launch your podcast today. The world needs your message. I'm Michelle Abraham, the host. Join my family as we unleash your unique genius and find the connections you need to launch your adventure today. Join us and let's get amplified. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. I am so excited because I'm here with my dear friend, Carla White. Let me tell you a little bit about Carla. Carla is the founder and CEO of Hiro.fm, and she's the first woman to launch an iPhone app. What? That's so amazing. She's been featured in New York Times, Oprah, NPR, and on all major networks and is the author of 2 bestsellers. Carla's helped thousands of entrepreneurs and podcasters increase profit, reach, and using AI and next generation tools. And Carla and I have a love for podcasts. We do podcasting a little bit different ways. She does private podcasting. I do public podcasting. But we have a love for podcasting, and we're coming together on a project, which we'll tell you about in a few minutes. But hey, Carla, how are you doing?
Oh my gosh, it's so cool to be here. Hi, Michelle.
Hi. Well, super excited for you to be here. We're talking all about authority, influence, and profit today. And what better vehicle to talk about that is in the power of podcasting. And so you have created this an amazing, first of all, let's just take it back a few steps here. Like, first woman to create an app on the iPhone, like, holy crap, that is like insane. I knew that about you, but just when I read that again, I'm just like, wow. That is so cool. Tell us a little bit about that first before we move on.
Kind of dates me though, doesn't it?
Well,
like, some of these people might have been in diapers back then.
It's all good.
But yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm such a nerd. And I love it. So I have been developing software, for decades, right? And I'm an early adapter to a lot of this stuff. So when the iPhone came out, I created an app called Gratitude Journal. It's still on the App Store, like, I don't know, well over a decade. 15 years, something like that. Like, no funding, no marketing, none of that. And still going strong. So that pushed me into entrepreneurship. So I was working for like Microsoft and NASA and all these things that you probably heard of, these organizations. And the iPhone came out and I'm like, okay, I'm going to create an app, and it went viral, and then wrote a book about making apps. Then I wrote this book, and people are like, oh, that'd be a really good lead magnet for a funnel. And I'm like, okay, what are those? That sounds interesting. So I got into the whole marketing world and created challenges. So people would get my Gratitude Journal app, and I'd create a challenge, and I'm like, 30 days, I'm going to show up live for 30 days. Like, talk about hard. And try to get these people to adapt new habits. Obviously, it was not a huge success because people would drop off. And that's what led me into audio.
I love it. And you created this audio. I don't even know what it's called. It's this audio amazing thing that it just has these features that are incredible. So let's talk about Hiro for a second, what it does, what it's all about, how it's like totally transforming the way that we can help support podcasters.
Yeah. So Hiro is an interactive audio platform, meaning not only are you listening to podcasts, but you can send them an email or send them an SMS, like right when you mention a URL or sign up for my thing. You can trigger these events. Or if they don't listen, you can send a little message saying, hey, you haven't listened for a while. Can I help you out somehow? So it's interactive, which is really cool, because really when it comes to marketing, it's about a 2-way conversation, not just a 1-way. So I got into it because I had this challenge and people weren't finishing it. And this woman jumped into my challenge and she sends me an email saying, look, I'm not watching the videos. I'm not watching the replays. And I'm like bracing myself for this refund request. And she just says, send me the audios and I'll listen to it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's brilliant. I'll just rip all the audios. So here I am spending days ripping all the audios, put them on a G drive. And she shows up like a day or so later in our private Facebook group. And she's live going, I downloaded everything and I binge listened and I feel like a totally different woman and I'm smashing the hearts. Like, this is so cool. Yes, yes. But then she started crying and she said that her son was, he confided in her that he was contemplating committing suicide and he wouldn't have told her had she not had this transformation herself. And I was like eating a tuna sandwich and it just fell out of my mouth. I was like, whoa, this is so crazy. So I went and gave everybody audio, like every training thing I created, I just made an audio version. It was terrible. It was horrible. Like people were like, what am I supposed to do with this? How do I listen to it? How do I access it? So when the world closed down in 2020, I'm like, okay, I'll create a software that'll do this. I'll just create an easier way to do this. So that's how Hiro was born. And I shared it with some friends and they're like, this is incredible. And so it just kept snowballing from there. And yeah, that's how it got started. And the idea is you can share your courses. You can create private members only podcasts. I like to use it as a really good lead magnet. I figured that out. That's been the best. Like, imagine people just texting you. In fact, I got one just yesterday, a boxer from this lady going, okay, how do I sign up for your coaching again? Because I just listened to your challenge and I got like, that was so good. So where's the link? And I mean, that's so awesome. Then the closing calls are more like
every day
onboarding calls. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it makes it so easy because that show is strategically set up, kind of like a webinar, kind of like a challenge where you're getting them through specific events. So they have a really big win at the end and they know they can do it. And so the next logical step is let's book a call and talk about working together and partnering. So yeah.
I love it. You know, what I really love about what you're doing with Hiro, I mean, you're turning listeners into leads. And for podcasters, like sometimes we feel like we're speaking into this like microphone and it's like, hello, anyone there? Is anyone there? Oh, anyone even listening? I don't even know who is there right now. And so what I love about Hiro and how we've implemented it into our business is we use it as a lead magnet to help our listeners. So here's the cool thing is that when you're listening to a podcast, typically you're probably an audio learner and you like audio is like your way of consuming things. So if I'm going to send my listeners to like an ebook, hell no, they're not going to read that thing, right? But if I send them to give them a number, first of all, this is the easiest thing. They're always on their mobile. So you text them a number or you text them a word and they text it to you. Then you're going to send them the link and they're going to click on the link. And then all of a sudden a podcast pops up on their phone and they start listening to this podcast, which is your lead magnet, which is on audio, which they can consume easily. And they get through the whole thing and binge listen to the whole thing. And then they're ready for more and want more of you. And, you know, for our clients that have like public podcasts, now maybe they go and listen to the public podcast more, or maybe that's where they came from, or maybe now they're ready for more things with you. But it just allows that amplification and deepening of the relationship really quickly for a listener from a podcast to then this accelerated platform. So I absolutely love what you've created because I think it's so magical and can be used in so many different ways. We're revamping everything we're doing at Amplify You right now. And one of the things that we're really focused on is, great, we're recording all these videos and this content and stuff, and this is okay. But I get so annoyed when I have all these membership sites I got to go into to listen to the content. I'm like, why? I just want something while I'm driving or at the gym or going for a walk that I can listen to. Feel like I'm getting the education that I paid for instead of having to sit in front of the computer for another hour to listen to it. So this is where we're going to put the app in there. And so we're going to be able to get the audio right from the program there. So I'm sorry I'm taking over your time here because I'm just excited about it. And I just wanted
No,
to
that's a great way to use it. And you bring up some really good points that I think need to be emphasized, because since I gotten into Hiro, of course, I'm like, well, who's listening to audio? Who's, what's the demographics? And what I discovered is really crazy. So we all heard that attention is the newest currency. Like whoever has the most attention is going to crush it. But what they aren't saying is things like short form video, for example. You're getting maybe a few seconds if you get them to stop to scroll, and like things that they're doing in short form video to get you to stop to scroll is pretty significant. Like you got to post a lot. It's a lot of energy and time that goes into that. Not saying that it doesn't work. I'm talking about return on time. And when it comes to audio, when the people who listen to audio, there's a couple of cool facts. One, there's more people that listen to audio on a daily basis than have Netflix accounts. That's a lot of people. Yeah. So there's a huge market, and they're listening to audio daily. They're looking for stuff to listen to, and they're listening to an hour and a half a day. Compare that to like the few seconds you're getting with shorts or reels or anything like that. You get an hour and a half. I mean, it's just you in their head talking to them. And that's why it's so good. And then you brought up another thing that I like, which I really focused on a lot, is the simplicity and the usability, making things effortless. So if you look at how Amazon got successful, it's because of that one click, boom, it's on your doorstep. So simple. And so when I designed Hiro, it was all about that. How can we make it super simple for somebody who's like on a podcast as a guest or on a show like this to take that audience and get them on a list without pop-ups and all these things that they have to jump through. And so that's that. Just text a word to a phone number and boom, now you got your listeners and your leads.
Yeah. And when we share your free gift, we're going to show everyone exactly how easy it is, because that's exactly how obviously your free gift is like set up that way today. So you'll get a chance to experience that in a few minutes, guys. And, we're talking about influence, authority, and profit today. So Carl, in your experience and your journey so far, what has really led to your success, you think, in that authority? Because you're an authority in this audio space. So, and obviously in the app space from the beginning. Yeah. So like, what is do you think contributed to the success of that?
I would most definitely say publishing, not publishing short form, but long form, publishing courses that help people, publishing books and audiobooks that are easy for people to consume. That right there has really pushed me into the forefront of, you got to go talk to Carla. Like DMs filling up, I want to partner with you because you publish this book or you have this course that covers this thing. And I cheat. I totally cheat when I do it. Do you want to know how I cheat?
No way. You don't cheat. How do you cheat?
Okay. So I use AI a lot. So when I'm publishing and creating content, creating audios, sometimes I don't even record it with my own voice.
What? No way.
Yeah.
That's possible. Like, I think it sounds like robotic if you're not recording with your own voice.
I know, right? You don't have to though. So there's tools that you can use where you can clone your voice and it sounds really good. In fact, the audio quality is so better because part of that is having high quality products. Like you don't want to create this audio product that's an audiobook or a course or anything that sounds echoey or your dog's barking in the background, right? Which happens to be all the time. Even that's if you have this bark around. Yes, because you've heard it. And I bet he does it on this call. But so you can use AI to write everything. In fact, we have AI integrated into Hiro now to help you with the titles, the subtitles, everything, transcribe all your audios. But then you can use it to brainstorm ideas, figure out what your clients need. Here's what I like to do. I'll create a whole course, have AI tell me what needs to be in that course, write all the modules, create the workbook, everything that goes with it, quizzes, discussions, everything that goes with it. And I put it out there with my name on it.
That's a game changer.
I mean, I'm leading it a lot of the ways too.
Of course, like you're training it to say what you need it to say, but that's like so much work to come up with all that content and all this like days worth of effort going into it that now you've got that down in like, and like what I love about like the AI integrated into it is that it's the AI is going to help you get ranked better in SEO. It's going to help you with like better conversion. It's going to help you attract and say the right things to your listeners that they're going to resonate with. So they've taken the thinking out of it for you.
Yeah. And what I do like as well is, I do apply a lot of frameworks. Like I, make sure that we're tickling all the happiness chemicals, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, in the audios. And that's specifically designed. So I do train AI to make sure that we're creating status out of that individual, and we're future pacing them, and we're making them laugh a little bit, and all of that. We want to boil that into the episodes so that they binge listen all the way through. That's really the key, is we want them to binge listen to the whole thing. Well, my goal is if they are listening to it as they're walking the dog, they walk an extra couple of blocks so they can finish the whole thing.
I love it. That's great. Plus, you're helping them with their health and fitness while you're at it. So well done.
Yeah.
Very cool. And so Carla and I have known each other for a while now, and I think it's been a couple of years actually. And we've both been obviously love podcasting. And so I heard that Carla was brewing up something really cool to help people just get going quicker in the podcasting space. And it's something that, we love helping people launch podcasts, but sometimes it takes a long time to get that interviews and things like that going. And in the meantime, then you need a lead magnet and somewhere to send them, somewhere to send people from your podcast. And then that takes some people months to create. And it just prolongs the getting out there and getting your voice out there. And so Carla's come up with this 30-day podcaster program, and I'm going to help jump in and join in and teach with her coming up in May here. And I'm super excited about it because it's going to get you this quick win, and you're going to get a podcast up and running in like 10 minutes a day. Do you want to share more about it?
Yeah. So the idea came from Peloton, those little bikes that they have a little coach on the screen telling you what to do for 10 minutes a day or for your workout. It's going to be like that. Like you're going to get a little video. It's 10 minutes. We're going to have a little clock right here, and we're going to make sure we don't go over 10 minutes. And it's just going to be click here, do this. And after the 10 minutes, you're done for the day. There's no homework. There's no theory. And we do one day, then the next, then the next, then the next. And at the end, you're going to have the whole system set up with traffic coming in there. And it's going to be really super fun because this is something I've always wanted to do. And I feel like when we push it all into, 20, 30-minute trainings, it's a little bit much, right? You kind of get lost. So, and do you want to talk about the Q&As?
Oh, yeah. And then we're going to go live and have some live Q&As every week. So then you have a chance to ask us questions too. And you've got two brilliant ladies here that are going to answer all your questions and know how to help you get this set up and in such a cool way and really quickly, right? By the end of 30 days, you have something live. So awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got some cool prizes for people. Yes. So we're going to make it super fun. And we want it really, our goal is to help you get your first customer. So one, get your first listener, then get a flood of listeners, and then hit a financial goal maybe that you have with that show. So that's the plan with it. And I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
That really satisfies one of the questions that podcasters always have is like, how do I monetize this thing? How do I make money from it? How do I do that? And so, Carla, I know you have a free gift, and I want, just because we're talking about it right now, how this all works, I want you guys to go and download the free gift and tell her that you went and got it so that she can see that you've got it and you can experience what we're talking about here. And it's really cool. And in fact, one of our attendees right now, his name is Sailor. He's one of our clients, and we've just helped him implement Hiro into his business to help him have a lead magnet from his podcast, Hope Without Sight, over to his over into this private podcast that we've created for him as a lead magnet. So it's going to be so cool to see how this works for him in his business. So guys, make sure you come and check it out with us in May. And again, it's 30daypodcaster.com. Check it out and go over and grab this free gift that Carla has. I'm going to put it in if we can put it in the chat right now, team, that would be awesome. So it's a text number. So you have to text the word AI to a phone number, and then you're going to be able to follow the directions from there and just see how magical and see how this works. So can you imagine if you were in on your podcast and you're listening to your podcast and you just say this word out loud? Remember, everyone's on their phone already, so they're just going to text that, and it's so good. So good. I love it. And just the fact that you can actually do something like this without it recorded in your own voice. So Carla, is what they're going to, is that in your own voice or is that in AI?
No, that's AI. So I'd love to hear people's feedback. Yeah. So what you're going to experience is my completely created with AI, and I created it in, I think it was about an hour, like the whole thing with getting people in there, listening to it, sharing it out to the interwebs. So I did redo it because some of the audios were a little bit janky. So I was like, okay, that doesn't sound very good. And yeah.
Okay, so
no, you don't need to.
This is what I was asking you, because we hadn't talked for a little while, and then I saw you post this. I downloaded, or I grabbed it, and I did the text number and everything. Comes in, it's Carla talking, and I was the whole time I'm like, Carla talking, or is this the AI? I couldn't tell. I definitely couldn't tell.
You couldn't tell until it said things like lead magnet. It would say things like this is. Yeah, it mispronounced a few things, so I had to correct it, and. But it was so easy because basically AI wrote it, I edited it, and then I slapped it into another software and it created the audios, and I uploaded that to Hiro. And the cool thing is, like, you don't have to create a funnel. You don't have to create any like emails or anything like that. It's just sort of sets it all up. Super easy.
And I feel like this is another piece that a lot of people struggle with is like, once they get people onto their email list, how do they then nurture them? And this is super easy way that's already integrated into this system. And like they can take you wherever they go on the phone. It's on the phone. So it's in a podcast app. It looks like a podcast. They already have one. In fact, we made one for my mom. Her brothers are, end of life, and we wanted her to remember them beyond their life. And so my brother and I interviewed a bunch of our uncles and our cousins with stories of, and we gave it to my mom for Mother's Day last year. And it's a private podcast, and no one has access to it except for her and a few other family members that we've allowed to listen to it. But it sits on her iPhone app in iTunes, but nobody else can listen to it except for her, which is super cool.
That is such a good idea. We actually did that for one of my siblings as he was going through chemo. We all recorded like long stories about like when he was a kid, and for him to listen to while he was going through chemo. So I know there's so many great ways to use this.
Yeah, I think there's a big market for that actually, because like it's such a cool thing. Like think about the veterans or like the people in nursing homes. Like so many cool ways to using that. But anyways, we want to thank you, Carla, for joining us today, because this has been awesome. I love so many things. Before we let you go, tell us a little bit, just last words of wisdom, words of advice that you want to leave with us today.
Yeah. So really what I want to emphasize is there is somebody out there right now praying for the solution that you have. You have a unique way of connecting the dots, seeing a solution. And there's somebody out there that needs it. And so I emphasize, there's Bodhi. I don't know if you guys can see my son. I emphasize that you get your voice out there, get heard. Like, don't go for perfect. Version done is better than version none. So just go for getting it done. There's somebody who needs what you have right now.
Amazing. And we all need what Carla has. So make sure you guys go and download her opt-in gift. It's so cool. So looking forward to working with you in May, Carla. Super excited for the project we have coming up. Guys, come and check it out with us. 30daypodcaster.com. Thanks so much, Carla. Have an amazing day. Thanks. Bye, Carla.
Thank you, family, for joining us on this adventure. If you're ready to be heard, head over to mypodcastcoach.com where you'll find out all the tools and tips you'll need to launch your podcast today. If you have a show already and you need some help managing it, please head over to managemypodcast.com and the Amplify You team would be happy to help you manage your podcast. Please also head over to iTunes, like, subscribe, and review our show so we can spread this message. And until next time, be your own unique genius.